Hey everyone, my tutorial is going to cover light mapping and the creation of shadows which are baked into a scene. Unity uses real-time shadows which are calculated in real time and are very performance expensive. Baking the shadows of your object into your scene will lower the performance demand on the graphics card and will allow the scene to run more smoothly. Okay, so I went ahead and created a new project. I'm just going to create a quick scene here by going Game Object, 3D Object, Terrain. With the terrain selected, we're going to go here in the gearbox and we're going to go to Resolution, Terrain Width. We're going to change this to 50 and the terrain length to 50 to make it a more manageable scene. We're then going to go to Game Object, 3D Object, Cube to add some basic objects to the scene. We're also going to change the position on this to 25, 0, and 25. Get it in the middle of the scene. And then with the move hotkeys, we're going to move it up there. We're also going to add a sphere. And with the sphere, we're just going to duplicate these, get a couple of them, and then duplicate the cube. And then with the scale hotkey, we're going to scale these slightly. And we'll just get this one laying on top of these. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is create some materials. We're going to go to Assets, Create Material. We're going to name this Matte Orange. Then we're going to go to here, Main Color. We're going to change this to an orange. And then we're going to make another one, Assets, Create Material. We're going to name this Matte Blue. And then with Matte Blue, we're going to change this blue. And then we're just going to click and drag these and put them directly onto the objects in the scene. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is add a directional light. We're going to go to Game Object Light, Directional Light. We're going to move this slightly. And we're going to rotate it so it's facing the objects here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is make changes to this directional light. We're going to go down to Shadow Type, go to Soft Shadows, and then we're going to go to, we can actually leave the light intensity at 0.5, actually 0.3. We're going to take the strength down a little bit to 0.75, and as you can see, it's changing in the scene as I change the strength here and also the softness on the edges of the shadow and the softness fade. Put this back to 1. And then with all the objects selected here, I'm going to hold shift and select them all. We're going to go to the static drop down menu and select Light Map Static. We're now going to go to Window Light Mapping, and as you can see, as I select the objects here, they're checkered or checked in Light Map Static. And we're going to go to Bake. And inside Bake, we're going to tweak a little of these settings in here. We're going to leave mode on dual light maps. which is mainly used for if you have spec maps and multiple normal maps and stuff like that. With quality, we're going to leave it on high, and bounces we're going to change to 2. And bounces is how many times the light bounces off of an object. And here in final gather rays, we're going to change this to 300 just because it's a simple scene. And final gather rays is the number of rays shot from a single final gather point. And the higher the number, the better quality shadows we're going to have going on. In ambient occlusion down here, we're going to change this. We're going to bump it up to 1. And ambient occlusion is it's a 3D shading method used to get some more realistic shadows where objects meet. So like around here in the inside of this orange cube right here, might get some nice ambient occlusion going on. In max distance, we're going to change this to 25. And then here in light map display, if you check show resolution here, we can actually see the texels per world unit going on. And we can change these down here in the resolution setting. We're going to change it to 30. Okay, and with the resolution, if you have the resolution too low, it's going to look really blotchy at some parts in the shadows. And if you have it too high, your file size is going to be extremely high. And then it looks like all these settings look pretty good. We're going to go to Bake Scene. And it's going to ask to save the scene really quick. Lightmapping tutorial. And it's exporting to Beast, and once it does that, it's going to bake the light map. I just realized on that previous bake I had the terrain here on 2000 length. We're actually going to have it on 50. It's 50 and 50 evenly. We're going to go back to light mapping, clear that last bake. All the settings are the same as the previous bake. We're just going to rebake it. Okay, now our bake is done and our shadows are baked into the scene. And we can prove this by, if you go to the checkbox for directional light in the inspector and turn it off, our shadows are still there. Which is really cool because real-time shadows actually do light calculations and are performance heavy. So these are just some great alternatives for that, for static objects which aren't moving within the game or the scene. You can see we got some nice ambient occlusion going on. And you'll notice even if I move these objects, the shadows still stay there, which is kind of cool. And the final thing I wanted to show you guys was real-time shadows and these bake shadows in the same scene. So we're going to go to Assets, Create, or no, Assets, Import Character Controller. And we're going to import all of these, but we're going to be using the third-person character controller. And it's just importing the package right now. Okay, we're going to add another light to our scene. I'm going to go to 3D Object Light, Directional Light. We're going to move this light. And we're just going to rotate it slightly. And we'll just take the intensity down 0.25. And then we're going to get the third-person character controller, bring them into the scene. We're just going to fill in these animations with the stock animations, with idle, walk with walk, run with run, and jump pose with jump. And Now with that new light selected, we're going to go to shadow type and go to soft shadows. You'll see as I did that, there's shadows now on the third person character controller. And if I run this scene, you'll be able to notice that there's shadows in real time on the character, while there are also shadows baked from the earlier bake on these objects here, shadows baked into the scene. And this has been a light mapping tutorial. Thank you for watching.